What if I told you? The strongest people you know are not the loudest, but the quietest. The ones who vanish into silence, who smile when they lose, who stand calm while the world burns. You think they don't feel pain. You're wrong. They've simply learned something you haven't. A code. A discipline. A terrifying kind of peace. They don't chase power. They become it. In a society addicted to noise, Stoics are ghosts. Shadows with spines of steel. You can't manipulate them. You can't offend them. You can't own them. Because they've mastered the one thing you haven't. Themselves. This is not motivation. This is not philosophy class. This is war. A quiet war inside your mind. And the Stoics? They already won. Now it's your turn. Welcome to the 10 Stoic principles that will haunt and liberate you. 1. Stop chasing. Start standing still. You become powerful the moment you stop chasing anything. There's a strange kind of freedom that comes the day you stop running. Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You stop running after approval, after love, after status, after answers. You stop chasing things that were never promised to you. And in that moment, something incredible happens. You become still. And from that stillness you begin to see clearly. The modern world trains you to chase everything. Attention, validation, likes, titles, even healing. There's this idea that motion equals growth. But that's not always true. Sometimes motion is just noise. And noise is the enemy of wisdom. The Stoics believe that true strength doesn't come from grasping, but from letting go. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And what do we waste it on? Chasing. When you chase something, you put yourself beneath it. You say, that thing has power over me. Whether it's a person, a promotion, or peace of mind. But when you stop, when you simply sit with the discomfort of not having, it changes you. It stretches your patience. It deepens your character. And it gives you something most people never find: quiet dominance. There's a kind of man, or woman, who enters a room and doesn't say much. They don't demand attention. They don't perform. They don't chase. But somehow you feel them. Their presence commands the room. Why? Because they've mastered the art of stillness. They don't need to explain themselves. They don't try to impress you. They're not thirsty for your approval. And because of that, you trust them more than the loudest voice in the room. That's the paradox. The one who chases the least is the one others chase most. Because stillness is rare, disinterest is powerful, and calmness real. Deep calmness is unnerving. Most people are constantly reacting to messages, to insults, to timelines, to fears. But not you, not anymore. When you stop chasing, you give yourself permission to simply be. And being is stronger than performing. Being is stronger than convincing. Being is enough. You don't have to seek every opportunity. You don't have to prove yourself in every room. You don't have to post your every achievement. You just need to remain rooted in who you are. And ironically, that's when people start to notice. When you're no longer asking the world for permission to matter. You start to matter more than ever. So the next time you're tempted to chase something, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this desire or is this fear? Because most chasing is just fear wearing a mask. Let go, stand still, and let the world come to you. 2. Let the world doubt you, but never doubt yourself. Be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Let them underestimate you. Let them roll their eyes when you say no. Let them laugh when you walk away from what everyone else is chasing. Because here's the truth. Most people are terrified of someone who doesn't need validation. They don't know what to do with someone who isn't begging to be understood. In a world addicted to proving itself, your refusal to play the game makes you dangerous, but dangerous in the right way. Dangerous in the still silent way that unnerves people. Because silence isn't weakness, it's control. When someone insults you and you don't react, they realize you're not easily moved. When people question your path and you stay the course, they start questioning their own. That's the quiet power of Stoic indifference. You don't shut people down with noise. You shut them down with silence. Most of us are trained from childhood to seek approval from parents, from teachers, from bosses, from strangers. And when we don't get it, we panic, we start explaining ourselves, we try harder, we push more. But the Stoic way is different. It says, let go of the outcome. Detach from opinions. Act with integrity and let the rest go. You do what's right. You speak your truth. And if people don't understand it, that's okay. Epictetus taught, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. You control how you interpret. You control what you absorb. So if someone doubts you, let them. You don't need to explain your silence. You don't need to post your process. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to keep showing up calmly, clearly, and without apology. Because confidence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just you, doing your work in the shadows, building yourself in private, and smiling when no one sees you coming. The quiet ones, the patient ones, the ones who don't flinch when they're overlooked. They're the ones who rise without warning. So stay still. Let the world doubt you, but never doubt yourself. 3. The man who doesn't react rules himself. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. You want to know who holds real power? Not the one who shouts, not the one who dominates the room, but the one who doesn't flinch, the one who doesn't react, because when everyone else is triggered, he stays calm. When others get angry, he watches. When people poke him, insult him, try to pull him into their storm, he refuses to enter. He doesn't play their game. And that drives them mad. You see, most people are reaction machines. Say something they don't like, they explode. Reject them, they beg, cry, or rage. Criticize them, they crumble or lash out. But the Stoic man is different. He doesn't suppress emotion, he studies it. He watches his anger rise like a wave. He breathes, he waits. He lets the storm pass, because he understands this. Reacting means giving power away. Every time you take the bait, you're saying, you control me. But when you don't react, you flip the script. You take back the power. You say, I am master of myself. You don't get to touch my peace. This doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're disciplined. It means you know how to pause, to think, to respond with clarity or not at all. And that silence, that pause, that absence of drama, it intimidates people. Because they're used to control through emotion. They don't know what to do with someone who can't be manipulated. So next time someone tries to provoke you, don't feed it. Don't flinch. Don't defend your ego. Just watch. Observe like Marcus Aurelius observed his own thoughts. Like a general watching a battlefield, detached, clear, unshaken. That's the man who's dangerous. Not because he strikes first, but because he doesn't need to. Because when you rule yourself, no one else can. 4. Pain is a teacher if you choose to learn. The obstacle on the path becomes the path. Never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our condition. Most people run from pain. They avoid it, deny it, numb it. They fill The silence with noise. They drown discomfort in distractions. But a Stoic does something different. He turns and faces it. Because he knows pain is not the enemy. Avoiding it is. Pain is a message, a signal, an invitation to grow deeper than you thought possible. You lose someone you love. You feel like you've been shattered. But the Stoic mind says, this is the test. This is the moment. I endure and I rebuild stronger. Not by suppressing the grief, but by walking through it with clarity, with eyes wide open, with the strength to let it change you, not break you, but refine you. See, this world sells comfort as the highest good, luxury, ease, escape, but comfort never made anyone strong. It never forged discipline. It never sharpened the soul. Only pain can do that. Not mindless suffering, but conscious suffering. The kind you meet with courage. The kind you use as fire. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal every day, not about his victories, but about what tested him, what frustrated him, what threatened his inner control. He wasn't looking for a painless life. He was preparing for a meaningful one. So don't curse your setbacks. Don't resent the heartbreak. Don't numb your failure with comfort. Instead ask, what is this teaching me? What part of me is being stretched? How can I face this with dignity, not despair? Because when you treat pain as a teacher, you stop fearing it. You start respecting it. And more than anything, you become someone the world cannot easily shake. You stop being the victim of life and start being the architect of your response to it. That's Stoic strength. And it's built in the fire, not outside of it. 5. The silence that breaks people. Don't explain yourself. Don't justify. Don't react. The more you say, the more control you give away. You want to destroy someone's ego? Be silent. You want to confuse the manipulator? Be silent. You want to take back control in a world addicted to noise? Choose silence not as weakness, but as a weapon. See, silence isn't emptiness. It's full of power. It unnerves the insecure. It challenges the arrogant. It frustrates those who expect you to play by their emotional rules. Because silence says, I don't owe you my energy. I don't need to react to be real. I don't explain myself to stay whole. And that terrifies people, because most people operate like this. They provoke gives, you defend. They insult gives. You explain, they lie gives you panic. But the Stoic doesn't move on command. He doesn't jump into the drama. He watches, he listens. He chooses stillness over spectacle. Because he understands, words can be twisted. Arguments can be bait. But silence holds its ground. It says, I am unbothered. I am calculating. I am focused on what truly matters. You don't need to justify why you left. You don't need to respond to every attack. You don't need to explain your values to people who don't share them. Silence creates tension. And in that tension, truth reveals itself. Sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. So when someone ghosts you, disrespects you, tests you, pause, breathe, stay still. Let your absence speak louder than your presence ever could. Let your silence expose what noise tries to hide, because the man who knows how to be quiet knows how to command every room without raising his voice. 6. You can't control the storm, but you can control your response. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoic doesn't try to stop the storm. He just learns how to stand still inside it. Because the world will never give you peace. It will give you pressure, conflict, chaos, and you only get to control one thing: how you respond. You get insulted. You want to snap back. But the Stoic pauses. He doesn't give that person the satisfaction. He understands that reaction is slavery. Response? That's freedom. And here's the truth. Most people are emotionally reactive. They live on edge, always on the defense. They mistake impulse for strength. But yelling, fighting, over-explaining, that's not power. That's weakness in disguise. The Stoic rewires this. He observes his emotions like clouds passing overhead. He doesn't deny them. But he doesn't worship them either. You can feel anger without becoming anger. You can feel fear without being ruled by it. It's like Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That's control. Not over people. Not over outcomes. But over yourself. So when the storm comes, you don't scream into the wind. You don't curse the rain. You breathe. You anchor your awareness. And you ask, is this worth my peace? Will this matter in 5 days, 5 months, 5 years? The answer? Usually not. Because peace isn't found by changing the world. It's found by not letting the world change you. You stay grounded. You stay observant. You choose your response. That's Stoicism in action. And in a world that rewards noise, chaos, and outrage, that's your superpower. 7. The man who endures becomes unbreakable. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. You don't always have to win. You don't always have to come out on top. Sometimes you just need to withstand, because life will hit you. Harder than you expect. Harder than you're prepared for. And in those moments, the Stoic doesn't ask, how do I win this? He asks, how do I last through this? We glorify success. We post highlight reels. We admire those who conquer. But the Stoic admires the man who keeps showing up, even when there's no applause, no recognition, no finish line in sight. He admires the man who suffers with dignity, who bends but doesn't break, who loses but never loses himself. You see, resilience isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's not about toxic positivity or smiling through pain. It's about bearing the weight without becoming bitter. It's about enduring setbacks without letting them define you. The Stoics believe that character is forged in difficulty, not in comfort, not in ease, but in the fire. Like Epictetus said, difficulties show what men are. Anyone can be calm on a sunny day. Anyone can smile when life is generous. But what about when life turns cruel? What about when nothing makes sense and everything hurts? That's when Stoicism shows up. It tells you, don't collapse. Don't run. Just breathe. Just take one more step. Then another. Because each moment you endure, you become more of who you were meant to be. Not weaker. Not smaller, but tempered. Like steel in flame. You learn to sit with pain, to outlast confusion, to remain silent when your ego screams, and eventually, you stop fearing the storm. Not because it gets easier, but because you get stronger. So, don't chase victory. Chase endurance. Because the man who endures, he becomes unbreakable. 8. Less desire, more direction. Freedom is the name of virtue, slavery, a vice. No man is free who is not master of himself. What do you really want? Not what you're told to want. Not what society screams at you to want. But underneath it all, what really drives you. Because here's the Stoic truth. Most people are not chasing their purpose. They're chasing their cravings. Craving attention. Craving validation. Craving power, wealth, beauty, applause. And with every craving they obey, they become more enslaved. Because The more you desire, the more you're pulled in 1,000 directions. You become fragmented, reactive, anxious. The Stoic sees this trap. He doesn't eliminate desire. He refines it. He sharpens it down to something clean, clear, and controlled, like Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" That's the power of direction. Not moving faster, but moving with focus. Imagine standing at a crossroad. To your left, pleasure, comfort, endless distraction. To your right, discipline, meaning, challenge. Which do you choose? Most choose left, but the Stoic goes right. Not because it's easy, but because it's essential. He doesn't wake up chasing dopamine. He wakes up chasing mastery. He lets go of the clutter, the false goals, the shallow wins, the need to impress. And in that space, he finds clarity, because desire screams. But direction whispers. The Stoic listens to the whisper. He knows that a life with too many wants is a life with no compass. So he trims the fat. He says no to what looks shiny but leads nowhere. He stops asking, "What do I want?" and starts asking, "What's worth wanting?" And that shift, that tiny invisible shift, is what separates the distracted from the driven, the lost from the focused, the reactive from the Stoic. Less desire, more direction. That's how you move forward in a world designed to pull you off course. 9. Nothing lasts forever, and that's a gift. All things human are short-lived and perishable. Everything you love, everything you fear, everything you cling to, will one day disappear. That sounds cruel, unforgiving, even tragic. But the Stoics saw it differently. They believed impermanence isn't a curse. It's a gift. Because when you finally understand that nothing lasts, you stop wasting your life pretending anything does. You stop delaying love. You stop postponing forgiveness. You stop chasing someday. Instead, you show up, fully, today. You stop needing things to be permanent, and instead, you learn to be present. You look at your loved ones not with boredom, but with awe. Because you understand, this moment is fragile. And that makes it precious. Your health? Temporary. Your body? Fading. Your reputation? Ephemeral. Your possessions? Dust. So the Stoic doesn't cry over impermanence. He celebrates it. Because he knows what is fleeting is also what is beautiful. The bloom of a flower, the innocence of a child, the quiet of a morning, the life of a man. They pass. Yes, but in passing, they remind us how to live. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And so the Stoic doesn't waste. He cherishes, he honors. He thanks the universe not for lasting things, but for moments. A shared laugh, a sunrise, a letter, a goodbye. All temporary, all unforgettable. And this is the paradox: the more you embrace the end, the deeper you love the present. Because you're not clinging anymore. You're not chasing forever. You're embracing now. So when death comes, as it must, the Stoic doesn't panic. He bows. He knows it was never his to keep, only his to experience. And that changes everything. You off course. 10. Stoicism is not a theory, it's a way of life. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Stoicism isn't meant to sit in a book. It's not for debate halls or coffee shop quotes. It's for mornings when you wake up anxious. For nights when you feel like giving up. For days when nothing goes your way. It's for living. You can read Marcus Aurelius 100 times. You can memorize Seneca. You can recite Epictetus, but if you still explode in traffic, still crave applause, still collapse under failure. Then you haven't lived it, because Stoicism is not about sounding wise. It's about becoming undisturbed. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering reaction. The Stoic doesn't hide from life. He faces it. Every sharp edge, every bitter truth, every sudden loss. He sees chaos and chooses stillness. He sees insult and chooses dignity. He sees uncertainty and chooses courage. Not because he's numb, but because he's awake. He prepares for hardship. He expects pain. He doesn't wish for an easy life. He trains for a meaningful one. And when setbacks come, as they always do, he doesn't ask, "Why me?" He asks, "What now?" That shift from victim to volunteer is the heart of Stoicism, because a Stoic knows this. You don't control what happens. You control how you respond, and that response, in small moments and large, shapes the kind of person you become. So when someone disrespects you, when you fail publicly, when life collapses quietly in the background, the Stoic doesn't flinch. He doesn't react. He chooses. He chooses patience. He chooses clarity. He chooses principle over impulse. And little by little, that choice becomes character. That character becomes identity. And that identity becomes freedom. So don't study Stoicism. Don't perform it. Live it. Not in theory, but in the way you walk, speak, decide, endure. Because when the world tries to shake you, the Stoic stands still.